Hi guys, Dave here back with another video, and I know what you're thinking. Dave, why you laying all seductively? Is your OnlyFans finally dropping? And no, obviously it's not going to be ready for another few months. But your boy threw his back out. How I did it is unimportant, but the fact of the matter is if I sit or even stand, it hurts, like kind of a lot. So I had to leave. I had to leave work early today because my back really hurt, and I felt bad about that because I like my job, and now I don't know what to do with the rest of my day. Um, but because I love this channel and I love you guys, and the grind never stops, even when I'm in massive amounts of pain, I still wanted to make a video for you guys. So why don't we go through all this pain and suffering for a video that nobody cares about, and that is my Volume 2 review of Mashle. Um, I didn't even really know if I wanted to continue reviewing this. I love this series, first of all. But I did a Volume 1 review a little while ago, and not a whole lot of people watched it, which is totally fine. Again, I'm still a pretty small channel, so maybe not enough people really saw the video. Um, but I said in the video that I was possibly going to review it volume by volume because I fell that in love with the series. Um, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do that, but I said, you know what? I made a commitment to myself and I'm going to follow through. And also, I don't really have any other ideas right now. So we're going to go with that. So, Volume 2 of Mashle. Again, there might be some light spoilers. I'll try to avoid it because I really recommend reading this manga. But we left off at the end. Mash was fighting Lance. They got into a little bit of a beef over some stuff. And this volume picks up right where the other one left off, literally right with that fight, but also with the great combat. Very engaging combat. You think wizards and stuff, and you think dorky Harry Potter, where it's like, expecto patronum, over and over again, and like that's kind of lame. Like, I know there's that little beam struggle at the end, like with him and Voldemort, but boring, man. Give me some actual combat, and this delivers that in spades. So you actually feel like people are fighting and not just like playing with the VFX filter. When it introduces some new characters, we got your typical kind of girl obsessed character, Dot, and it keeps up the comedy. This is a very, very funny manga, and it continues to be a very, very funny manga. I'm trying to talk about like specifics, but I can't without spoiling it. But really, throughout this specific volume, Mash just continues with his quests, trying to gather the coins so that he can become the grand visionary, so that he can get people to leave him and his grandpa alone. Because all he wants is to just like hang out in peace with his grandpa. But people keep bugging him for his magical ability, which, as we learned in the last volume, he doesn't have any of. He's just really strong, which is insanely funny. And the parallels between this and One Punch Man continue to be more apparent. I feel like the mangaka behind this was pretty inspired by One Punch Man, even down to some similar art style. I mean, just like look at Mash here and tell me that doesn't kind of look like a bored Saitama. But yeah, I mean, this continues to be a hilarious manga with actually, like, the characters are pretty one note, which is par for the course because this is but it is a parody in a lot of ways. So definitely a parody of Harry Potter, but I think a parody of other traditional shonen manga as well, with like the really tough character, and you got the character that looks like a bad guy, but they actually become friends pretty quickly, kind of almost instantaneously. The shadowy organization, the Dot guy who I mentioned before, who's like obsessed with girls, and this manga also continues to be very funny by breaking the fourth wall, because Dot, if I could talk, his like introductory panel is him talking about how he's the main character of the story and how the world revolves around him because this is his quest, and Mash is just kind of like, whatever, dude, I don't care, like. and it doesn't cease to be funny the fact that Mash just legitimately doesn't care, and he doesn't want to be here, but he just has to because it's the only way to protect him and his grandpa. Um, so yeah, some new characters are met, and that's fun. And then near the end, there's a glimpse at kind of the shadowy organization that Mash is going to have to come to terms with fighting. Um, and and the fact that, you know, there's this almost like a more of a grand conspiracy here, like something that we didn't really know much about. I mean, there were rumblings of it, especially in the first volume, like, you know, setting up the story. But there's a lot more that remains to be seen, and it's actually very interesting. Like, despite this being a comedy manga and being very funny, and having your typical kind of shonen fights and, you know, mixed with the humor and the, you know, Mash loves cream puffs, lol, which is actually very funny. I don't mean to sound sarcastic. It's kind of funny how like, for example, in this scene, he gets sorted. Remember in Harry Potter they do the sorting houses things, and he gets sorted into his house, in the skull unicorn thing like peers in your soul and sees like what you like or what you value the most, and then he knows what house to put you in based off of that. And for Mash, all he sees is cream puffs, like my boy just chilling in a mountain full of cream puffs, and that's actually really funny. But as I was saying, despite all of that, it's still very interesting to see that there's more to this story, and, you know, more that we're gonna figure out as time goes on. You know, with this kind of shadowy organization kind of leading everything. The fact that a lot of Mash's new friends seem to be pretty one note. Most of them are a little one note, but like Lance, for example, I think has a lot to him that I don't think they've delved into yet. And also, a little bone I have to pick with this is from a guy who has OCD. Why the hell is Mash on every cover and every spine except this one? It's a little lame. I think they were trying to, like, maybe make like every volume have a different character, or at least, you know, a different character on the spine. But volume 1, Mash was on the cover and the spine, which totally makes sense. Volume 2, Lance is on the cover and the spine, so maybe you think volume 3 will have Dot on the cover and the spine or whatever, which Dot is on the cover along with all the other characters, but he's not. But Mash is on the spine. Mash, to my knowledge, is on every single spine, and it's sitting on the shelf with just Lance, you know, poking his little head out there. You know, it is for a guy with OCD, it kind of is like, oh no. But for a guy who's a fan, and also for a guy who reads way too much into things, it could mean that Lance is going to become a very important character. He kind of already is. He is already a main character. I maybe go as far to say the Sasuke to Mash's Naruto, or the Vegeta to Mash's Goku. Like, I feel like Lance is kind of taking up that mantle or that role, but it remains to be seen how deep this goes, and how important he is, and how important all these other characters are to this plot that's coming into play. And one thing that I keep trying to say, and then I get sidetracked with something else, is there's a lot more I think that's at stake here. And despite this being a comedy and a parody, I could see this getting pretty in depth with its world. So I'm very excited to continue reading. I have volume 3 that I have to read, and then I have to go out and buy the other ones. So I'm planning on continuing to review this volume by volume. Sometimes when there's only one volume, you kind of struggle for things to say, so maybe in the future I'll review it 2 volumes at a time, or maybe I just won't at all if nobody's interested, which I totally understand. But I figured, from the condition that I'm in right now, I figured I would do something a little bit easy on myself. So I appreciate your understanding. I appreciate your support on the channel. And I don't know, that's kind of it. This, you know, manga Mashle continues to impress, and continues to work its way into my personal favorites. So yeah, if that's it. I've got more videos on the channel that are I don't even want to go as far as to say better than this one, but they are at least me sitting up. So that's different. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Bye, guys.